Star Wars geek girls. They're geek girls that like Star Wars. And sometimes cry.
Hello, welcome to Star Wars Geek Girl. I'm Zoe. Lizzy is doing super awesome Disney internship things and cannot make it this week. But I have Jonah.
Hi, I'm so happy to be back. It's been so long.
Yay! I think the last time you were on, I think we talked about the Bad Batch.
Yeah, it was about the Bad Batch. Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, so the Bad Batch is over, but we had a new thing come out yesterday, Star Wars Visions. 9 shorts. They're not that short though. I thought shorts like Forces of Destiny shorts, like 5 minutes tops. And I opened the first episode and I was like, 20 minutes? What? This isn't short. But very glad they were so long. It was very good.
Yeah, some of them I wanted them to be longer. Like I wanted the story to keep going.
Yeah, there was a few I'm like, sequel, please. More? Yeah, I guess that's my spoiler free review. Is they were really great. Really, a lot of them were very different compared to like they still felt like Star Wars, but they were just like different than like what we usually expect from Star Wars in a very good way. And I enjoyed them a lot.
Completely agree.
And they definitely, like, I think we're a show, like, because everyone says like Star Wars takes influence from both Westerns and samurai films, which are very like similar films already. I think like where something like The Mandalorian leans more into like the Western, I think a lot of these, not all, but a lot of these lean more into the samurai.
Right. Yeah. And I'm happy that they embraced more of it and had the creators be all of these different studios. And I just admire what they were able to do with their individual visions.
Yeah, all the different art styles were really cool to see. They're all beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. As we'll talk about, so we're just gonna talk about the first like 5 this week. Spoilers ahead if you haven't gotten the chance to watch them. So the first one, this one my dad said was his favorite, and the one I knew would be his favorite as soon as I watched it, The Duel.
Yeah, the duel I actually really loved, and it's one of my favorites. It's not my top favorite, but it's like close to being the top. And I think what I loved the most about it was the fact that the black and white style look that they used reminded me a lot of manga. Like when I was much younger, I remember reading Cardcaptor Sakura, and that was a manga that I would pick up whenever I had money, which wasn't often, but it was all, just line art and shading that was in black and white essentially. And so every still of that episode, if you paused it, it was like a page from a manga, and I thought that was really neat.
And I did like, I think it really brought out like, because they still use color for like the lightsabers and like other little lights. I think it really brought that out, and it was really pretty.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah.
This is one that was definitely like, this is a samurai movie, 100%. It was really cool. I liked Lucy Liu. She did great as what was her name? Do you remember
the bandit leader?
The bandit leader. Yeah, that's right. She didn't even have a name.
Yeah.
She was very good. I'm very excited to read that book now.
Oh yeah,
the Ronin book.
It did make me more excited about it. And what's funny too is that because of I had tuned out of the fandom for a few months just to take a break. So I wasn't paying much attention to the news. And so I didn't really remember the cover for Ronin all that well. So when the episode is playing and all of a sudden he pulls out his red lightsaber, I was shocked. I gasped and I thought, oh my gosh, this is such a cool twist. But you would have been spoiled by it if you had seen the cover of Ronin beforehand, which I really wasn't paying attention to.
I
and
had
I was
seen the
just like,
cover and I still was like, it's red?
Yeah.
What?
I was just so shocked. It was such a great reveal.
Yeah, it was really good.
But it did make me more excited for the book, and I'm actually
Yeah.
really interested in reading it.
Yeah, I pre-ordered it. Sal has it and he's been taunting me with it.
Oh, that's awesome.
But
Not
I'm
the
very
taunting
excited.
part, but the fact that he has it.
Yeah, it seems really good. I'm excited. I thought it was such a cool story. I loved his droid and the little like that's straw.
The straw hat.
Yeah, a little
that
straw
he was
hat on the
wearing.
droid.
Yeah.
It was so cute.
Yeah.
It
I
was
do.
so
Oh, sure. Go for it.
so I was saying it was really interesting to see like stormtrooper helmets, both first they were both first order and imperial, and it's animated in a style like that. It's very interesting to me.
Yeah, that was interesting. I also love the return of the lightsaber helicopter.
Yes.
Because as you know, Rebels
It
fans
was
will
like
remember.
it was like a parasol. It wasn't quite like the
Yeah.
It was
It
like
still had that like the helicopter effect.
Yeah.
Is what I was referring to. But yeah, because I remember in Rebels when the Inquisitors used their lightsabers as a helicopter-like mechanism in the Twilight of the Apprentice episodes, everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, why? Why would they do that?" And then they brought it like similarly here. I just couldn't help but think back to those helicopter moments. And I loved it. I loved every moment.
It was great. Yeah, that episode was so good.
And I remember seeing her heels and I thought, oh no, she's wearing heels. Because usually, for a character who's fighting, you'd want to be prepared. And heels aren't really like the thing to wear for fighting. But what I really liked about the heels here and in a few of the other shorts to follow, the heels were weaponized, like they were used as part of their method of attacking. And I thought that was really interesting. Like they weren't just a decoration, they weren't just to like look pretty, they were a weapon as well.
Yeah, and a very like non-suspected weapon. It came out of nowhere essentially. Like whoa. Yeah, it was great. I did like the little, I forget his name, I'm really bad with names.
No, I'm bad with names too.
The little, I think he an Ugnaught that fixed the droid.
No, he wasn't. I definitely don't know his name.
He was a Celestin, that's what he was.
Oh,
I thought he was very funny.
Yes, yeah. I would be terrified too if I didn't complete that job by the time the kettle had been whistling. I also loved that fight that they had on the log in the river and how it was reminiscent of Anakin and Obi-Wan in that lava scene in Revenge of the Sith. So that was pretty neat to see the opposite of that scene.
Yeah, and also the battle with the raiders or the bandits versus just like the villagers and the people trying to like protect them. Was super interesting. It was like they won and you're really happy, and then she comes out with her spinny parasol lightsaber, and then it's not so happy.
Yeah.
And the little kid that was like the chief.
Yeah, the chief's son, I assume, because his father seemed to be either sleeping through it or ill, and I couldn't remember which one he was going through.
I don't remember either.
Yeah, but I do like that the kid stood up to her in defense of his village.
I don't know what else much more to say about.
I also really liked the fact that he was collecting red kyber crystals. I thought that was interesting. And how he gave one to the kid and said, quote unquote, it wards off evil. And I thought that was very interesting because it sort of challenges your perspective on what is traditionally a, quote unquote bad color. Red signifies evil, dark side. And so I thought that was interesting for him to say it wards off evil, when that color in our minds, where we see it in Star Wars and we think, oh, that's bad.
Right.
So yeah, I thought that was very fascinating.
Yeah, he had his like collection, so it makes you wonder, because he uses the red blade, like, did he take that off of someone? Like,
Most
I guess we'll
likely.
find out in the book.
Yeah, I know. I am looking forward to it.
Yeah. So the next episode, if you don't have anything else to say.
No, those are all my little points.
The next one was the one, I love this one. This is probably the one I was most excited, just off of my like very brief look at the different episodes, was Tatooine Rhapsody.
Mm-hmm.
It was just very different to anything else Star Wars like ever.
Yeah.
I think this is what made me like it so much.
What I really loved about it is the fact that it was very much like what my friend and I do on our time off. We usually, create our own headcanons and talk about like what, so and so is going through in the Star Wars universe. And a lot of the elements that we inject into our stories are very contemporary, I have a character who likes to play guitar. So when I saw that in Tatooine Rhapsody, I thought, yes, this is exactly what I have playing in my head. I have characters, original characters who do play instruments like that are of Earth origin.
Yeah.
So I thought was really interesting how it wasn't so different from what I had in my head.
And I did like how it sort of stayed that kind of like contemporary, because like obviously the main character is like a former Jedi who escaped Order 66 as a Padawan. Right. And he still has his lightsaber, though it's broken. And so like you kind of, when they reveal that, you almost expect it to end with him like reclaiming his Jedi thing and like doing something awesome, because that's what we get with like Cal and Kanan and Ahsoka. But this was different. They did save the day with their band and not with any lightsaber or anything else.
Exactly.
No like Jedi powers, no anything, just friendship. It was great.
Yeah, the power of friendship. It was so beautifully done. Yeah. And I want an entire album.
I'm waiting for that song to drop in on Spotify. I checked 4 times today on Spotify if they've uploaded the soundtrack for Visions yet.
And it's funny because as the song is playing, you see all these characters tapping their feet, or Jabba tapping his tail.
Even Boba Fett.
Yeah, and I was tapping my feet. Like, it was such a groovy beat.
It's a great song. And they need to let me listen to it on repeat all day.
Exactly.
I did, speaking of Spotify, I did discover today. So if you listen to a Star Wars soundtrack on Spotify, the little like play bar turns into a lightsaber. Turns into Anakin's lightsaber. I accidentally clicked on that lightsaber today and found out it changes.
Oh.
You can get Luke's saber, Leia's, Darth Vader's, Mace Windu's, and Ahsoka's rebel saber.
Oh, that's neat. I did not know about that detail.
It blew my mind. And now all the Star Wars music I listen to is with Ahsoka's saber.
Yes, of course. That's what I would have chosen as well.
And I was just so happy. I'm so excited to learn that today.
Yeah, all the more reason they should give us the soundtrack to that episode, that album.
Oh, it also has Rey's yellow saber. That one.
Oh, neat. Yeah, cool. Something else I really loved about Tatooine Rhapsody is the fact that we got to hear Tamora Morrison's voice as Boba Fett. Like, it just melts my heart. It's just so good.
It's great. And I think what I also like too is when like Tamora Morrison speaks, you're like, T. Bradley Baker did a very good job at like replicating that ish for the clones. Like, it's still different because it's Boba compared to a clone trooper, but like you're like, you know what, he did a really great job. Props to him. Always.
But yeah, it was great to hear Tem, and it just made me more excited for what's to come with his character at the end of this year, and I'm super happy.
Yeah, I really like the design of the different fan characters in this episode. I thought that like each character was really just fun
Yeah.
and great. Especially the hut with the bangs.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Yeah, that was I think that was Geezer,
Geezer.
I
Yeah,
think
he's played by I forget his name.
Bobby Moynihan.
Yeah, who
Yeah.
played Orca in Resistance.
And I love that Joseph Gordon-Levitt was Jay.
Yes.
And that Shelby Young, who's also been in Star Wars here and there, was K344, who I love her design.
She was like my favorite. She was very wow, I'm so bad with names. The cartoon with the little blue robot girl.
The blue robot girl. In Star Wars?
No. It's like it's a different cartoon. And she has like pigtails, like robot pigtails. And she's like blue and white. That's
Oh my
what
gosh.
it reminded me of. But you know who I'm talking about?
No.
No.
Blue
Okay.
and white pigtails.
Yeah, but okay. I need to
You're gonna Google it.
I'm gonna try. Robot cartoon.
Robots.
Oh, there. What's her name? Nickelodeon. My Life as a Teenage Robot.
Oh no, I don't know. That must have been like after my time.
It might be. It might be. Yeah, that's what it was.
Ah,
If you look her up,
that's who comes to mind.
That's what she reminded me of.
Nice.
Yeah, it's 2003 to 2005. So
got it.
maybe a little bit.
Yeah, that was definitely after my time. And then yeah, I just loved how it was a hut that took this former Jedi in. You know, huts.
Mhm.
Again, it challenges your perspective, your preconceived ideas of what a hut is, because here's this hut who just doesn't want any part of this legacy that the Hutt family has to offer. He wants to be a rocker.
Yeah.
A space rocker. And I really love that Jay found a way to make it happen with Java being a sponsor, which is to me, I feel like that's something that could happen, because I know these have been established as not canonical.
Mhm.
Whatever. To me, there is a band playing
There absolutely
Star
is.
Wars.
Yeah. They're canon in my heart. Just
In
like
my
the
heart,
holiday special
yeah.
and the Freemaker Adventures.
Exactly.
And just like Terrifying Tales probably will be.
Yep.
Canon in my heart. If people can say movies that like aren't canon, then I can say movies that like are canon, you know?
Yeah. And I really love how it was just a more positive, hopeful spin on the survivor, on a Jedi that was caught in at the end of this war and has to survive. Like it's not Caleb who's running away from, for his life, and Cal who's like also trying to survive in the middle of nowhere. So it's just, I just really liked how it was just a bit more hopeful and playful.
And even like when they go to like do their last like performance for the Hutts, like he pulls out and it looks like a saber. And he's like, it's just a microphone. And when he turns it on, it does make a little saber noise. And now I really want a microphone like that.
I really want someone to make that happen. Like podcasters everywhere need to have this microphone.
Where's all the Visions merch? Because I can only find t-shirts right now. And I don't need more t-shirts.
Yeah, we need Visions merch.
I need toys.
Yeah.
And props.
Oh man. But yeah, that was a great one. It's also one of my favorites.
Yeah, that was because I didn't watch the trailer because I was like, it's coming out in a few weeks. I can wait. So I didn't really see anything, but I just like very briefly read like little tiny blurbs of each one. I was like, that one looks like the one I'm gonna like the most, and I think it probably was.
Yeah, I think I remember reading those blurbs, and I might have said something about The Village Bride being my favorite. It wasn't. I have a different favorite, but yeah, I was surprised. Each one of them surprised me in a good way.
Yeah. See, The Village Bride is probably very, very close to Tatooine Rhapsody for me.
Oh, nice.
We'll get there. Next, we have the twins. Anything else to say about Tatooine Rhapsody?
No.
All right, we have the twins.
The twins. So if I had to rank this, these list of episodes, all being great, but just, one that wasn't as that captured me the most, I would put this twins in that category.
I
It was
might have
good.
to agree.
It was good. It was entertaining. The story just wasn't captivating enough for me. But I do love the whole duality, the thing that they were twins, the whole Gemini class destroyer. Like I really loved elements here and there
Yeah.
from it.
Yeah, this was one that yeah, it was one that maybe if I was ranking them based off how much they felt like Star Wars, this one also might be a little lower. Like obviously it has like stormtroopers and stuff in it, but just like overall vibe, I guess I didn't get that as much. But I like the visuals were beautiful.
Yeah.
And I did like like you said, the duality. I did think Alison Brie plays the sister.
Oh yes,
Which
Am.
blows
Yeah.
my mind because I know her as little Annie from Community.
Yeah.
I'm like, Annie, you're crazy. And then Neil Patrick Harris plays the brother,
That's
which is also
right.
just insane because he's not. I guess I don't associate him with that kind of character.
Yeah.
But they both did a really great job.
They did.
And I did really get probably captivated by the characters more than like the story.
Yes, I agree.
It was very interesting, and I did I liked the way that it was, like I already said didn't feel like Star Wars, but it had that very core Star Wars message of like believing in people and having hope. And also there were Jawas in it, which gives it points for me.
Of course. Yeah, I know when I heard them, I thought, that's so cute. I'm so happy they have them in there. I also, what I really loved about this particular episode too was this quote where I think it was Kare who said, "You're free to choose your own destiny." And I love impactful quotes like that. So I made sure to write it down because it's such a great one to refer to. Because yeah, you do have a choice, because Am was all about, we were created for this purpose and blah, 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 this and blah, 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 that, and she was just so enraptured by this thing that they had to fulfill, that you have a choice in what you do. And I like that Kare had said that. And she also had a weaponized heel.
Yes.
In her dark armor, which was another interesting element too of this short, that they had this armor, this special armor that they had to be powered up by this
By
crystal kyber. Yeah.
And then Car uses it for his like lightsaber and like creates. It reminded me of the Kyber saber from Freemaker Adventures, is what it made me think of.
Totally agree.
Yeah, and it was like super powerful. And it had like a little bit of like it didn't look like when they animated like a red lightsaber. Like it had an extra like layer to it. You like slice the whole thing in half.
And I think
Super
this is the first time in Star Wars where someone in the universe says "to a galaxy far, far away." So I think
in on-screen Star Wars, I think.
Oh, is it on screen?
I think, well, if you count the Will stories from a certain point of view, I think they say like galaxy far, far away.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, because I hadn't read those, so I wasn't sure. But yeah, like on screen wise, yeah, I thought that was really neat when he said, in response to "where are you taking it?" "to a galaxy far, far away."
Yeah, that was one thing. And I think almost every short someone says, I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah.
And every single time I was like, they said the line.
Yeah, I love that too. And I think one of the other details that I really liked about this short is the fact that Kare and Am reminded me of Zuko and Azula from Avatar: The Last Airbender, especially when they were fighting, because he had a more bluish glow to what he was doing with the Force, and she had a more red glow, which reminded me of their Azula and Zuko's fire at the very end of that series, which was the opposite because Azula had blue. But still, I really love that that dynamic and just the power that these two siblings had against each other.
Yeah, it was so when they were like, it wasn't, I don't know if it was supposed to be like force lightning or just force like whatever, but then when they were both like pulling at the crystal, it was very, very, very cool. Yeah, I enjoyed this a lot. I think I probably enjoyed other episodes more, but I still really, really like this one.
Same. Yeah.
They were all very good. It was tough competition.
It really was. Yeah. But it was memorable. Each one of them has their own little memorable trait to it.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Anything more to say about the twins?
No.
Okay. The next episode was probably up there with Tatooine Rhapsody for my favorite, The Village Bride.
Got it. Yeah, the Village Bride I would put in the category with twins.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for me.
I loved this one. I loved the character. I think her name is like F, like just the letter F. I loved her character. I thought her design was really cool. My sister just got a haircut and it looks like her haircut. Oh. So I'm like, Safi, you gotta do this costume. It has a mask for you.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I really loved that design.
And I loved like the katana lightsaber blade, which we also saw in no, it's not Ronin. I always want to call it Ronin. That's the book in the Duel.
I see.
Like that same like flat saber blade. And I really like the idea of her as a character who is struggling alone, like with being a Jedi because she lost her master. And like she has someone who's like acting as a mentor to her now, but he's not a Jedi and he doesn't know about it.
Right.
And she's figuring out on her own because it reminded me a lot of Kanan. Like when he first started training Ezra and he felt very lost because he was hardly a Jedi and he hadn't really touched into that part of himself for so long. And he felt, I think, the same way F did in a different way, but very similar. And then just her finally coming out at the end and like saving the day. I just really liked it.
With her weaponized heels.
Yeah.
Hers, I think, are my favorite because of the way that they opened up. It was very Tron-like in its design. And I really loved that.
Yeah. I did also like the sisters of the village. I always like a good story about sisters.
Yeah. I think what I loved most about this short, I think above all the others, well, besides Tatooine Rhapsody, because Tatooine Rhapsody had some great music, but I really loved the music, background music for this episode. And it reminded me of something else that I can't remember right now, but just it was very spiritual in the way that it sounded. And of course it went along with, these two characters at the very beginning where they were going to this very holy ground and this place that they worship. And so it fit beautifully.
Yeah, that was another thing I really liked was the they touch that stone and it's like the nature magic and you see like the memories of the planet and stuff. Because it's one of those things where it's like, is this the Force? Is it a different kind of magic, like the lightsaber magic? Is it, or not lightsaber, Night Sister magic? Like what, it's very mystical, which is my favorite part about the Force. Very like, Mortis.
Yeah.
Craziness.
Yeah. I do love that. And now I remembered what it was. It was Avatar, James Cameron's Avatar. Because, in that planet, the planet is essentially its own organism and it's able to recall memories and whatnot of the Na'vi. So when the memories started playing in this episode, I thought, oh my gosh, this is that's just like James Cameron's Avatar. This is so cool. But yeah, I do love that Christopher Sean from Star Wars Resistance voiced Asu, which is really cool.
Yes. It was like, because I looked at all the like cast lists and stuff before, so like I knew like he was in it, and then after I watched it, I was like, wait, which one was he? And I had to like go back and look. Very chameleon voice.
Yeah, he did such a great job.
Yeah, I love this episode a lot. It was really pretty, and I love the flat lightsaber blades. At first, like when I first saw it in Ronin, I was like, it took me a second to get used to it because it's not what I think of when I think of a lightsaber. But as soon as I like got used to it, I was like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that one.
Yeah, I would like, if they were to make a second season, I would like to see a continuation of this one. Obviously from the main character's point of view, her journey and where it goes next, but also just I really do love the little couple here in the bride and then the man she's in love with, and I want to see more of that. I want more love in Star Wars. Love that's pure.
Yes, I'm just afraid they would take their happy ending away.
I know. Oh, that's true.
I don't trust Star Wars.
Maybe
I don't
maybe
trust
we
them.
should just leave it there.
Just leave them. They're good. They're good. They're fine. We're not gonna.
That is a great point.
I don't trust it. I've lost too much. Oh boy. So the 5th episode, I feel like I want to talk about all of them now. I'm having such a great time. Maybe we will. The 5th episode is the 9th Jedi.
Right.
And I think, well, this one was very, very good. Well, I don't think it was one of my favorite shorts. I think it has probably one of my favorite characters.
Ah, nice.
And I say she's my favorite character, and I cannot remember her name.
I believe it was Raya or Raya. Was it? I don't remember now. Or Kara. Oh,
Kara. I think it was Kara.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is actually my favorite short, and I should be ashamed for not knowing the main character's name.
I just said she was one of my favorites, and I can't remember her name. So.
But yes, this is my top favorite. So this is what I labeled immediately as like, oh, this is top tier for me. Because I just thought this would have been a great premise for a movie. And I think it would have been a great premise for The Force Awakens. Like that would have been really interesting. Because you have this character, Kara. Oh gosh, I hope that's the correct name.
It is. I just looked it up. It's
okay,
Kara.
Cool. And then I think her droid was 49s.
Oh,
I think that was the name of the droid.
Oh.
And so, they're very much like BB-8 and Rey. And there's a whole thing with Sith acolytes happening, and I just thought, this is brilliant stuff. I want more of this.
Yeah, it was so good. And and like the reveal that they were all Sith. In hindsight, I was like, yeah, that feels probably obvious, but I was like, when it was revealed, I was like, oh my god, their lightsabers. It was the same thing as Ronin. Oh my god, the lightsaber's red.
I really loved that. That was another reveal that I was just I genuinely gasped, because you see these characters, and again, I love how these shorts just challenge your thoughts about things, your pre-established thoughts about Star Wars things. And like you see these characters and their in their wardrobes, and they all seem to be light side characters, and all of a sudden they're not. And I thought, what? This is amazing. And then the mysterious robot or android, or I don't know, droid figure. I'm watching Star Trek, so I have all these different terms in my head. So this mysterious droid is like sketchy, and you think it's the bad guy, and all of a sudden you find out that it's the good guy. And I thought, oh gosh, this is so cool. And I really love how that all played out. And I think that's why it would have been so great as a movie. And I desperately want a continuation to it.
Yeah, this is one where if like I had to pick one to get a sequel, it would be this one for sure.
Yeah,
it was so good. I loved the Kara's, it was her father, the sabersmith.
Yes,
because we only ever see Jedi constructing lightsabers. No one else ever does or even seems to try.
Mhm.
And so here's someone who he doesn't seem to have the force, or at least use the force at all, but that's his whole job is making all these lightsabers, and he has a way to do it where the color changes depending on who's holding it, which Jedi don't do, and like all this stuff, and
I
it's
just
super
thought that
cool.
was so cool. Like when there was a scene where the lightsaber goes from one dark side figure to a light side figure, and so the saber itself goes from red to green or blue, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
Yeah, well, and even Kara, when she isn't fully like confident and developed in the force, and so it's just like it's like a darkish, like non-colored,
Yeah.
and then in the middle of the fight, as she kind of gains that power, it becomes green.
Yeah.
And it's just awesome, and I thought it was such an interesting idea, because I feel like everyone's always, especially in Legends, wanted to make lightsaber colors like a thing like that, where like it chooses you, and it sort of does. It doesn't seem like people pick their kyber saber colors, but this is really like embodying like the lightsaber will change depending on whose hand it's in.
And I love that one character who had been consumed by the hate of all the others had a purple lightsaber in the end. Like it turned purple, and I thought, I knew it, Mace. I knew he had some dark side tendencies.
Yeah, it was such a great episode. I love the old droid with the little steam.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought he was
he was just chilling with his oil like tea that he was drinking. That was so funny.
Yeah, it was just great.
And I really love that end shot where the whole screen turns upside down, and then that floating rock that they were on looks like a lightsaber when it's turned. I just thought that was so visually cool. It gave me goosebumps. I felt like this was the one that really captured Star Wars for me, and I was just like, oh, this is amazing.
It was, yeah. That episode was definitely a highlight. Again, I love Kara. I loved her little arc she goes through, and just gaining some confidence and obviously force ability. And I did feel really bad. I don't remember his name. I felt really bad for that one character who just like showed up. He didn't know this was like a Sith.
Oh yeah, Ethan. I remember Ethan.
He because just showed up, and all of a sudden, like everyone's fighting each other, and he's like, "I've never even held a lightsaber before."
Yeah, and I remember thinking, oh, Ethan, because when Rebels first came out and Ezra's name was revealed, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, Ezra Bridger, that sounds like a 1940s kind of name. And I grew to love it, grew to, as see the Star Wars behind it. But then when Ethan shows up, I was like, Ethan, how do they spell that? How do they Star Warsify that to make it look like Star Wars?
I don't like to say names don't sound Star Wars anymore, because one time when back in season 3 Rebels, I was podcasting and we were talking about Tristan Wren, and I was like, yeah, Tristan just doesn't seem a Star Warsy name to me. And then my sister walks over to my desk and puts a piece of paper down, and I flip the paper over and it says Luke.
Luke, obviously,
so
right?
I don't say that anymore.
Exactly. So I'm good with Ethan. But yeah, he's another character who hopefully with Kara they'd be able to foster their abilities, and that's why you really need a second one, because they need to go rescue her father. And I'm just like, oh, this is so cool.
Vision season 2, except it's actually just the 9th Jedi season 2.
So here's hoping they at least come out with a book, because I want to read that story.
Book or a comic.
Yeah, I'm up for that too.
Yeah, it was really good. I'm very excited to see. I hope they do more things like Visions, where they just let different people just basically take a crack at Star Wars and just give them this. I feel like there was a lot of creative freedom given. It wasn't like you're making a story about Boba Fett doing this, this, and this. Like, I feel like the creators had some freedom, and I
Mhm.
hope they continue that, because I think this was really awesome and really creative and really
Yeah,
fun.
I totally agree. It just, yeah, it goes to show that it's worth branching out from people that you're used to working with and having others play in the sand. Like
And
they,
having even just different, like a different cultural perspective
yeah,
on Star Wars. Star Wars is very, very American,
yes,
um,
yeah,
which has value to it, but it's also fun to see what other cultures,
I
how
really
they
hope,
perceive it, because it
yeah,
is, as despite it being very American in origin and probably and in most cases of American in content, I think it's such a worldwide phenomenon, and people around the world love Star Wars, as
I
we see
agree.
every year in Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah,
And I think letting people create versions of these stories that they love, and putting their own spin and their own perspective into it, can only be good most of the time.
like I really want now for Visions to expand from Japanese culture to African culture, or like the variety of African cultures, and a Caribbean culture, or the variety of Caribbean cultures there. Like I want now a season to be based off of all of these different places around the world that have been influenced by Star Wars, that have Star Wars as part of their childhood. And I just want to
Yeah,
experience that now.
and I think giving animation studios from countries that don't get as much worldwide recognition for their animation would
Yeah.
be awesome, because I mean, none of the studios I think that did Visions were super big studios. Like, if you look at their like the things they created, there's a lot, and a lot of like pretty popular stuff, but nothing like huge,
Mhm.
like I hadn't heard of most of it, but I'm also not super into anime. But I think, like, I can think of some Japanese animes. I couldn't name a cartoon from Africa, from
Yeah.
South America, from Europe, maybe Europe, but like,
I
so I think
totally
giving
understand. Yeah.
giving a
Giving
new
other spotlight.
yeah, a new spotlight, I think would be super cool, and just getting a new perspective.
Yeah. I love that. A different worldview.
Yeah. Yeah, Vision was good. I want more.
I
I'm
want
very
more.
excited for Ronan. It was, yeah, it was amazing.
Yes, I agree.
It's been funny because I've been rewatching Clone Wars in chronological order. I have my whole like list written out of all the episodes in what order, because
Nice.
I didn't realize, I always knew, like, because I never watched it in chronological order before, and I always knew, like, yeah, you jump around a lot. I never realized how much, like, I have to watch, like, I watched season 2 first 3 episodes, then like some episodes way at the end, then the episodes in the middle, then the finale arc, and that's just season 2.
Yeah.
Crazy. um
And I think something else that I want, thinking about Clone Wars, thinking about Rebels, and now Visions, and all the other shows that we've gotten, like I really want Lucasfilm to continue pushing the envelope and just
mhm.
continue finding ways to tell stories, because I think that's what they're best at, just finding different ways. And I want them to continue finding new talent and new voices to tell those kind of stories in those
Right.
different kind of ways.
Right. I mean, because Star Wars, you think when it first came out, was so new and innovative, I mean,
Mhm.
obviously I wasn't around and you weren't around,
I was
but
not.
um but like, I feel like whenever you hear people talk about Star Wars, one thing they'll almost always say about seeing it for the first time in theaters is like, there was never anything like that before. Like, I never saw anything like that before in my life. And I think, like, as much as like thematically and content wise you can continue Star Wars, the legacy of Star Wars, I think the best way to do that is to continue to be innovative and come up
Yeah.
with new things, and like you said, push the envelope.
Yeah.
I think that's probably, in like the bigger picture, more the legacy of Star Wars than anything else.
Yes. Totally. You said it. You summarized it perfectly.
Yeah, but it's like only reason I brought up Clone Wars because I thought it was funny. I was taking a break from watching Clone Wars to watch more other Star Wars. There's so much. I love Visions. It was great.
Yes.
It was one where I wasn't, like you said, I wasn't sure if this part of Star Wars would be for me, just because I'm not as into anime. Like I think the most anime I watched was like Pokemon as a kid. I did watch Tokyo Ghoul in early high school because Lizzie told me to watch it. So I watched all of it, and then I was like, "Let's talk about it." And she was like, "Actually, my mom said I can't watch it because it's too violent."
Oh.
So I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, yeah. And as a kid, I used to watch Cardcaptor Sakura, and it wasn't even the full anime version. It was the Americanized version where they had selected certain episodes, dubbed them, and then that's what you got as card captors. And so when I got older, I found out that there was so much more to it. And I thought, oh my gosh, I gotta watch all of them now. And I spent like $70 buying this DVD set where I could watch all of them, and the menu was in a different language. And I thought, what am I doing? But I learned. I was just so happily surprised with it. But unfortunately, I didn't keep up with the anime scene, so I fell back with a lot of different stories that I could have easily just found myself loving, but I just got distracted with other things like Clone Wars and whatnot. But I'm happy that the Star Wars franchise has branched out to embrace this and to bring it to an audience that should really, consider reading manga and watching different kinds of anime available out there.
Yeah, and I do think also it will bring more faces to like the Star Wars community, because I know like on my staff here, like I'm like trying to convince everyone like you should come to Star Wars night this week and watch Star Wars with me even if you've never seen Star Wars. And like one of them, she was like, she really is into anime, but she's never seen Star Wars. And I was like, well, they're coming out with a Star Wars anime in a couple of weeks. And she seemed really interested in trying that out. So I think it'll still like bring people in who like, well, I don't know about Star Wars, but I like anime. Let me dip my toe in and see what I like.
Yeah, which is why I really like that they had debuted that panel at an anime convention. So that was really neat. That they didn't go to like Comic-Con or any of the other big ones out there. They went straight for the anime Comic-Con because this is what it is naturally. It's an anime. So yeah, I really love that.
It's really cool. And that coupled with like, I know there's a Rebels manga, which I don't have, but I know you do.
I do. I do. And I even though I should not have, because I have a very tight budget, but I went ahead and I bought the volume 3, which came out in Japan. So amazon.com, amazon.co.jp, you are able to purchase things from there to have come here. And so I was, you just got to change the language to be able to make the payment. And so I did it. I still have it downstairs. I need to open it.
Is it in Japanese?
It is, and I don't understand
so you can't read it,
but I can appreciate. But I can appreciate the beautiful art that comes with it. So I'm excited to peruse through it and add it to my collection. It is a bit pricey in terms of shipping, but I think I
looked at the first volume and I was like, that looks really cool. I don't know if I want to spend that on something I can't read.
Yeah, I got you. But I do recommend the English versions at least. I think volumes 1 and 2 are out, or just volume 1. I'm not sure, but those should be available on the regular Amazon on our side of the hemisphere. So
maybe someday. I spent all last week, I was like, it's your birthday week, treat yourself. And then my credit card bill was due yesterday. And I was like, why did I do that?
I got you. Adult life.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts with Lizzy tomorrow about the rest of the.
I don't know about tomorrow, but
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. But whenever you're able.
Yeah, probably next week. I will be podcasting. I guess I should plug this now. I will be podcasting on Saturday with the Father and Son podcast, which is another Star Wars podcast. They did recently an interview before Visions came out with some of the creators, which was really neat. And they're from Philly, so like Philly podcaster gang. Yeah, I'm very excited, and that's gonna be a podcast with video uploaded as well.
Nice.
It's gonna be really fun. I've never really done that before.
Yeah.
But definitely check that out. I'm super excited to talk to them. They seem like really awesome people. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I don't have much else to say. We should,
No,
much as I'm tempted to bring up the other ones, we should probably leave them so I have something to talk about next week with
yeah.
Lizzy. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was so nice to talk to you.
Of course. Always happy.
Yes, I guess we'll do the plugs. So Star Wars Geek Girl. The Facebook page is Star Wars Geek Girl. Our Twitter and Instagram are at SW Geek Girl, and then StarWarsGeekGirl.com. Monthly poll, quizzes on Wednesdays, blog articles on Fridays. Also, my dad has been very excited. He recently hit 100,000 followers on TikTok.
No way.
He had last week. He got like, he texted me. He's like, I hit 10,000, and the next day he had 70,000. The next day he like 100,000.
That is wild. I ended up just deleting my TikTok because it was such a
probably
distraction.
a good choice because I'm on it all the time.
It's just
look at his numbers right now. My father has 119,500 followers on TikTok.
I can actually say I know someone who has that many followers.
He's TikTok famous.
He is TikTok famous.
He makes money from it now too, which is crazy.
That is wild.
So
he
was very excited. On my birthday, the first text I got from him was, I had 100,000 followers on TikTok.
Oh man. That is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still in shock.
So
well, there you can find your father.
If you want to add to his follower count, it's at Hinton Cosplay MU.
Nice.
Just plugging that for him. So, well, it was the day after he did that at our staff meeting. We played Two Truths and a Lie. So I was like, truth, my dad is TikTok famous. Okay. I guess I'll do Rogue Rebels plugs. Rogue Rebels, they have their website, theroguerebels.com. Instagram and TikTok are at the Rogue Rebels. Twitch at Rogue Rebels. There's their podcast, probably wherever you're listening to this podcast. Facebook page, The Rogue Rebels, and Twitter at Rogue Rebels Fam.
And you can also find my podcast, the Geeky Bubble Podcast, at iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and every other place that you can find podcasts. And you can also find it on Twitter with the handle at Geeky Bubble Pod. And you can also find me on Twitter with the handle at Blue Jay Guys.
Yay! Thank you again so much for talking about Visions. It was super fun. I was Zoe.
And I was Jonah.
Thank you for listening to Star Wars Geek Girl. May the Force be with you, and goodbye.
Bye.
Star Wars Geek Girls. They're geek girls that like Star Wars. And sometimes cry.